bursting your bubble news, we have a little bit of a misnomer. So there's been a big story this week about discovering that half of Viking warriors were indeed women, Valkyries, but it looks like maybe some people got a little too carried away with the headline and didn't really read the study so much, because it found that that was not to be the case. A lot of Viking settlers or travelers were women. That's cool, right? But that's the extent of the findings of the story, which were not read that well, apparently.
I will say that probably half of all Vikings were women, statistically, but not Viking warriors as
Yeah.
Are you on record for that?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, Tim says, guys,
so.
half were women.
Yeah,
About
a rough.
Just of Vikings.
So he knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess this story is saying that, one, the sample size was way too small.
Okay, first, the sample
There was
size
only
was
13. Yeah.
That's too small. And 6 of them were female, or they believed female, 7 were male. A lot of this was guessing based on, well, they said sexing, which means determining the sex. Not what you think it means.
Sexing.
Sexing?
Yeah, sexing.
Were bones they found.
History's sexy sometimes.
Sexy history.
But a lot of the sexing was
Sexy
a lot of the sexing was from judging by what the bones were buried with. So maybe
which is kind of interesting, because
that's
that's a big judgment, you know, to say we're going to determine the sex based on what you were buried with.
buried with the sword.
Based on our cultural stereotypes of today.
Exactly.
So
it's kind of messed up.
That's not a great way to do it.
Not an accurate way. Plus 13, that's too small of a sample size, and the standard deviation is too high, and you should feel bad.
That's right. That's
all.
right.
So unfortunately, as cool as it may sound, it doesn't seem like half of Viking warriors were Sifs, but half of Viking settlers were Sifs, maybe. No, not Sif, because Sif was a warrior. But half of Viking settlers appeared to be women in this small sample size, which is probably not true because it's so small. Sorry.
I mean, I'm curious to know how many warriors there actually were for women, but at the same time,
it's hard to say based on bones.
how would we ever know, really? Yeah, we're just going to have to go by the bones. We're going to have to do a larger sample size.
I was under the impression that when Viking warriors died, they were put in a boat and set on fire and sent out to sea. Like, I wouldn't think we'd find any Viking warrior bones on land.
I thought they all went to Valhalla.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I don't know. So it's hard to say. At least in this case, the headline doesn't really match what's inside, and what's inside doesn't really match a really good determining factor. What do you think of this story and the spread of maybe not the most true information? Let us know below in the comments, and please be sure to subscribe.